Here's the fourth video for red clay. Just something else to think about. I hope you've watched the previous 3 videos and learned something a little bit about some of the appropriate chord scales that you can use. There are many other options to be sure, but hopefully those give you a good start on getting a good sound. One of the things that I find in the playing of jazz that is easy is to look on a micro level. So if you have a certain chord and you marry a certain chord scale with it, bang, you have action and you survive for that 2 beats or that 4 beats or whatever. But oftentimes we can have, as a player, we can have this very boxy feel because the chords are obviously changing. 2 beats here, 4 beats here, 2 beats here, 4 beats here. And if I only deal with those as little microcosms, my sound is very informed by that. And it tends to be truncated and very disjunct. It may sound very athletic, but it probably doesn't have a whole lot of integrity in a macro sort of way. So this is a game that deals with an ascending line and common tones to help you find macro lines, to help you find a linear line through, musicians call this cutting through the chord changes, to actually play something that has integrity as it moves forward in the chord progression. And you hope at least for these 2 and 3 and 4 bar phrases, which would be really, really neat and give you a whole different sound than 2 beats, 2 beats, 2 beats, 2 beats, 2 beats that are all glued together, and there's no real sense of cohesion. So here's the game. It's very easy. Choose a tone that is in one of the chords, that belongs to the chord and is in one of the chord scales that I shared with you. So for example, there's the first chord of the 4 bar phrase, and I'm going to choose the root of that. Sounds great. As the chord changes, I'm going to choose another tone, and here's the rule. The tone has to be a half step or a whole step away, and it has to ascend. So my choices are 50-50. Am I going to go up a half step or a whole step? In this case, I'm going to go up a half step. Listen. That acts as the minor third of that chord and the flat 7 of the next chord. Now I'm already at bar 3. I'm going to go up a half step or a whole step. Either one would work. Let's go to here. That's the natural 5, okay? And then let's go up another whole step for the bar 4. And then up another whole step. Okay? So to get started, what you might want to do is to chart out that 4 bar pattern on a piece of manuscript paper and actually write in these footballs, write in these whole notes, and just do the math and say, gee, this functions as the root, this functions as the natural 9, this functions as the flat 7, this functions as the minor third, whatever it happens to be. But as long as the math works out, and the notes that you're choosing are actually in the chord or in the available tensions, it can sound great. Here's an ascending line starting on concert C. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to keep going. Put in 2 there, holy smokes. This one I stayed the same. So there needs to be some reasonable flexibility on some of those 2/5s. I felt like, oh gosh, I got to change that note. Or on one of those places, I stayed the same. But overall, you're looking to just create a gentle, sloping, ascending line. This is just, it's almost like connecting the dots. They're just dots on a, you're just plotting dots, a place to go. And you can embellish from there. So one more time, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to start in a different place. I'm going to start on concert G. This acts as the 5th. This is the flat 7. This is the 5. I'm going to stay right there. That's the 9. Here's the flat 7. And then, let's see, and the sharp 11 and then natural 9. Here's the 11 and the root. Here's the 13. Here's the flat 7. Minor 3rd and flat 7 and the 11. And the 5. And the minor 3rd, and then stay right there, that's the natural 5, and then the minor 3rd, and the flat 7, and the 5. So you get the idea. This one takes a little bit more brain work. For harmonic players, I feel like sometimes it's a little bit easier. But for monophonic players, trumpet, trombone, saxophone, whatever, you might want to write some of these out as a guide. From here, it's simply embellishing. 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? And now I've got this cool sort of trajectory of a longer phrase, really with kind of a predetermined artificial game of this ascending line using common tones or tones that are available to you. I'll stop there.